This new e-bike from Mokwheel is not only very competitive with other bikes at its price point, but also doubles as a very powerful mobile inverter power station and solar generator. Let's take a look at this thing. The Mokwheel Basalt here is a nice, high-quality pedal assist and thumb throttle e-bike with a nearly 1 kilowatt-hour removable battery, a hefty carrying capacity with a very nice included rear rack, and the ability to be used as a 1,000-watt inverter power station, all at a highly competitive price of around $2,200 US, give or take a few hundred depending on what seasonal deals are going on. I've been using this thing as a massively practical accessory to my mobile living rig, and it has been so useful that I actually sold my more performance-oriented e-bike, put my dual sport motorcycle in storage, and haven't had to use my gasoline generator since I acquired this bike. First of all, here's what's included with the bike. As you might expect, the bike comes with an AC charger, so you can charge the bike directly from a wall outlet. It comes with a set of keys that can be used to lock and unlock the removable battery. It comes with all the necessary tools to assemble the bike, which pretty much just includes attaching the front wheel, handlebar, pedals, and fenders, and it comes with a very powerful fold-out solar panel for charging the bike and other devices. And of course, it comes with the power station attachment, which provides 1,000 watts of AC power output, as well as 12-volt power output, USB charging, and USB-C power delivery capability. The power station attachment is very compact and portable, attaches to the bike's frame, and it packs a whole lot of capability. The power station unit connects to the bike with what looks like maybe a proprietary cable, or at least something I haven't seen before. It powers on by holding the on-off button and has a display that provides a state of charge indicator, charging status indicator, battery voltage readout, and power output meter. The AC inverter on the unit is rated at 1,000 watts or 1 kilowatt, and it can use the entire 940 watt hours of the bike's battery. After some thorough testing, I can say that the AC inverter absolutely meets the stated rating. It seems to be able to output 1,000 watts continuously without issue, and it has plenty of overhead capacity on top of that, which it will attempt to use until it shuts down due to overheat protection. I tested the overload capacity using a variety of appliances and found that you can reasonably expect up to 1,600 watts of short-term overload capacity. It was able to run my entire mobile living rig, including the 1,500 watt water heater, for about 2 minutes before it shut off, which is quite impressive for a 1,000 watt inverter. It seems to roughly match the capability of my 1,800 watt Yamaha inverter generator for short bursts of high output, which has unlocked a whole new level of comfort for me, since I can now do things that require high power output, like using the microwave, without needing to be hooked up or running off the generator. Since the inverter is rated for continuous operation at 1,000 watts, it can continuously run about 90% of things you'll ever plug into it. And then larger tools and appliances will at least run momentarily, which, depending on the appliance, may or may not be sufficient to actually use it. When run at the maximum continuous output of 1,000 watts, the Basalt's battery will last for about 50 minutes. For smaller, more typical loads like a laptop in the 100 watt range, the bike's battery provides around 9 hours of power. It really does offer a lot of usability. When the inverter does shut down from overload, getting it going again is as simple as power cycling it. Again, the bike's battery is a 48-volt, 19.6 amp-hour unit with a capacity of 940 watt-hours, which gives the bike a very healthy amount of range. Depending greatly on terrain and elevation change, my testing has led me to expect somewhere around 35 miles using only the thumb throttle, or 65 miles cruising comfortably with pedal assist. As previously mentioned, that 940 watt-hour battery will also provide plenty of capacity when using the power station accessory, and standalone power stations with that kind of battery capacity can easily cost $1,000 US on their own. The battery of the Basalt easily powers all the lights in my trailer, keeps my cell booster running, and keeps my computer going for an entire workday. The large battery recharges in just under 7 hours using the included 160 watt AC charger, which is okay. Not very quick by any means, but not cripplingly slow. I have typically kept the bike charged up during driving by just tying it into the solar power system on my trailer, which it readily accepts through the power station attachment. Unfortunately, the 160-watt AC charger is a bit too powerful to run through the 12-volt socket in a car, but with the power station attachment, the bike can charge just fine using the AC charger from my Jackery 500, which draws a low enough wattage to be run off a vehicle's 12-volt socket. So the bike can indeed be charged via 12-volt socket, which is very, very handy. The electric drive of the bike is accomplished via a rear hub motor, and it is not a very high-performance setup. It is definitely mild and tame by e-bike standards. It is enough to be plenty useful, but don't expect a speedy experience. The thumb throttle provides gentle acceleration at what feels like half power or a true 750 watts up to 20 miles per hour, and won't provide any additional power beyond 20 miles per hour. As far as I have found while messing with the bike, this speed limit and output limit cannot be adjusted, so don't expect to be able to get a lot of speed or power out of the thumb throttle. The power in the most aggressive pedal assist mode does not seem to be speed limited, and feels on par with 1000 watt e-bikes I've ridden, getting the bike up to 25 miles per hour without a ton of effort. Again, not blisteringly fast by any standard, but certainly fast enough to get from place to place without taking all day or requiring tons of pedaling effort. During my capability testing, my friend and I rode this bike 2-up along the beach, and it actually kept us moving along just fine, so the power is definitely enough to, again, at least get you from place to place. We also tested this bike loaded well past the 400-pound rated capacity, with 3 grown dudes on it equaling 520 pounds, and found that it will indeed move the load without much effort on flat ground, but when hills were involved, the bike struggled to keep moving. So think twice before trying to surpass the load rating of the bike. With the bike loaded at about the maximum load rating of 400 pounds with 2 guys and 1 girl, it worked just fine. Slow going on up hills for sure, but it did keep moving. Overall, it isn't a fast e-bike. It's definitely more of a gentle cruiser, not made for thrills, but just made to stay legal while having acceptable capability. The pedal assist functionality is a cut above most e-bikes in this price range, featuring a torque sensor at the crank, which means the power output is controlled by how hard you are pressing into the pedals instead of how quickly you are turning the crank. This results in quicker and more accurate response than most e-bikes in this price range, since they generally only have cadence sensing and tend to lack torque sensing. From what I could figure out with the controller, there is no ability to customize anything about the power output or pedal assist settings, or at least I was not able to figure out how to open any advanced settings menu on the controller. The display is visually appealing with a nice color LCD, although the information displayed on it is pretty basic, just showing speed, a rough state of charge indicator, trip mileage, and total ride time. The suspension and brakes on this bike are pretty dang high quality. The front fork is hydraulically damped with click adjust damping control and lots of spring preload adjustment, and it works well. It isn't just a springy mess like on cheap bikes. It is a hardtail bike, so of course it's a little bit squirrely in anything above mild off-road terrain, but the 4-inch fat tires keep it acceptably controlled on mild bike paths and off-road trails, and the seat is very nice since it rides on damped bellows instead of being completely fixed or riding on springs. So this thing is still a comfy ride on dirt paths or worn-in streets. The brakes are hydraulic disc brakes front and rear, and they are quite capable. When the bike is loaded 2-up, the brakes still feel like they have tons of overhead potential, even on long downhills. When we were messing around riding it 3-up, the brakes got burning hot on a long downhill to the point that we could smell the pads burning, but they never faded and they didn't warp or glaze from the event, which was very impressive. Overall, the bike is very comfortable for around town and mild dirt paths, but it isn't something I would want to get very adventurous with. Comfort-wise, the bike is definitely just fine. The damped seat is nice, the grips are okay, but I'll probably switch them out for something a little more standard, and the bar positioning is adjustable, so no complaints there. Of course, the bike comes with a very nice rear cargo rack, which my friends and I quickly realized made for fun times riding 2 and 3-up, although I'm sure the manufacturer would not recommend doing this for obvious safety reasons. This led me to eventually padding the seat and adding little U-bolts to use as passenger pegs. is. Ever since then, it has been living a hard life carrying passengers around town, but the bike has been taking it in stride. We actually recorded all of the POV riding footage while riding 2 up because the bike handles it so well. The bike also features front and rear lighting, and my friends and I have found that the lighting is quite impressive, able to illuminate the road ahead for at least 100 feet, which feels very safe for an e-bike of this speed. Although this is definitely an e-bike that I'll be keeping for a while, this wouldn't be a full review without going over some of the things that I wish were different about the bike. First of all, it is my strong opinion that e-bikes should always come with an option to charge from a 12-volt vehicle outlet. This model is technically capable of charging from a 12-volt outlet, but it doesn't come with any provisions for doing so. For myself, charging the bike while on the go in a vehicle just makes sense and seems like something all e-bikes should be capable of and ready to do. The other gripe I have about this bike is that the power station attachment has a bug where it occasionally will not display any state of charge, voltage, or output wattage data. However, I have found that the inverter power station works perfectly fine even when the bug arises, besides not displaying data, obviously. This could likely be fixed with a firmware upgrade, and I do believe Mokwheel is still working on perfecting the power station aspect of this bike, so if you're watching this review several months in the future, this bug may have already been addressed. Lastly, there is at least one point on the bike where the material quality was not up to snuff. The lever for the seat post lock has a little cutout in it, which reduces the durability of the lever. After using it a few times, without getting rough with it, the lever started to bend and it eventually snapped off. The lever is still functional, but I wish it didn't have that cutout in it, because I'm sure it would be perfectly durable without it. Overall, the bike is just very high quality, solid, and great feeling for the price, with the obviously game-changing power station attachment setting it apart even further, which is why I'm definitely going to be keeping this thing for a while, at least until something with even better power station capabilities comes along. In my opinion, this bike seems very well suited for people who are either mobile living or going camping, due to the power station capability. Just about all the people I see doing the mobile living thing have e-bikes, and I bet all of them would be absolutely stoked to have the ability to turn that e-bike into an extra kilowatt hour of usable electricity for powering their rig during rainy conditions and whatnot. It just makes so much sense, and it has really turned out to be just so practical for me.